But speaking of spillover effects, we're watching the polar vortex that's been hitting the country. Temperatures are plummeting across the U.S. this week in what has been dubbed, of course, the polar vortex. Business weather forecaster Analytics estimated that economically it has cost the U.S. $5 billion, $1.4 billion of that coming from flight cancellations. This, however, is not, at least we've seen, not nearly as big of an impact on the economy as previous superstorms, as experts do not expect any damage to be caused in terms of a long-term impact, at least from what we're seeing from the polar vortex. But it's clearly having some sort of impact. It's a big dollar amount.
I mean, a lot of these climatic events have huge economic impacts that I don't think we really talk about a lot. I think we like to talk about climate change as a science thing that either people deny or do not deny. But there have been a lot of reports throughout the years from the U.S. government that shows that climate change is one of the biggest national security threats. And one of those reasons that it's such a threat is because of the economic impact. I mean, I decided to look back at some of the other storms. So Superstorm Sandy, excuse me, cost $65 billion in property damage alone. And the last polar vortex, that was like 5 years ago, that also had a cost of $5 billion. Now, there was not as much a cost when it comes to airline travel. That was only about 50 to 100 million. We obviously way more of a damage here this time around. But every time we see one of these events, you're going to see these massive economic impacts negatively. So I'm surprised to see that it's not going to have a long-term impact or long-term damage.
Yeah, but definite short-term impacts, and we're seeing those around the country.